Yeah.
I do personally, yes.
Yeah.
Some should be, because some of them don't really actually harm you as that much. But obviously the ones like the really addictive ones like cocaine, heroin, things like that, they should stay illegal for the rest of, their existence really.
Certain ones should be, such as marijuana, but the class A's, get them out. Not fun.
I agree completely,
Not needed to take them now, and I don't really want to take them.
So,
You never know, do you? I'm not in the situation now, but maybe on a night out with the girls.
Yeah, for definite. I mean, I think it's Switzerland or something like that, and they made this clinic where heroin addicts can go and use safe, clean needles. Like they go and buy their own heroin, but they use safe needles, safe things. They're in a safe environment, and it's even been said that the rate of addiction there has gone down. So it must be working.
To be honest, I haven't really got an answer for that one. They're not doing enough, but are they doing? They say they are, but they're not, are they? It's ridiculous. The whole country needs talking to.
completely agree.
I think it's a bit of both. I think they're both as bad as each other, because obviously the rich, they have the money to buy the drugs, but the poor, I think they have it a bit harder because they obviously have no money, but so they're gonna go around stealing, making a mess around town and what have you.
I'd probably say that cannabis is probably more prominent in poor areas. Yeah.
What about Class A drugs?
That's when the rich kids come in. There's a friend of mine, Luke, always going on about the sniff, as they call it, the sniff, the chuck sniff, the chuck dip. I'm not down with it, as you can
He's
tell.
very upper class, his dad's on the news every night.
I think nowadays it's cool to be a crackhead.
Yeah. That's just wrong.
Yeah,
wrong.
it hurts me.
Well, that depends really, because it depends on who's going to be voting for them, because you can't just have your main subject on drugs and then not fixing the economy, not doing anything about healthcare or anything like that, or education.
Depends what the view is.
Yeah.
These days, we'll lower tuition fees. Do they though? No. Can you trust anyone? No. I don't think so. No.
Yeah, they really hurt us.
No idea.
No.
I haven't looked through it yet enough, You haven't gone through the whole business yet. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I'm not really sure yet. I just need to look at all the manifestos that they're bringing out and see what different kind of policies they're taking, and just having a look.
Dirty fucking road, dirty fucking dirty. She's dirty on the.
Briefly, could you tell us how you got onto drugs, and then how you managed to come off it, and how many years you were on hard drugs?
I see you've incorporated the word briefly now into the question, as you've already noticed my propensity for verbosity. I became a drug addict, I think, because of emotional difficulties, psychological difficulties, and perhaps a spiritual malady.
Now,
Was that brief enough?
Very brief, thank you. You were arrested roughly 12 times.
It was rough, yes. Chip Randers runs the treatment centre where I got clean. So
yes, we're coming on to him in a minute, Mr. Brand.
He's already the puppeteer behind each and every articulation.
Thank you, Mr. Brand.
If we're going to spend more money on treatment, if we're going to spend more money on education, money has to be taken from somewhere. And one possible suggestion is that we spend less money on doing the policing of possession. for example. Is that something which you would support, or would you see things in a different way?
I've forgotten the question.
Like, do you think instead of nicking people for possession, they should just stick it into treatment and education?
Thank you for that translation, Mr. Bryant.
Doesn't one also have to have some compassion and consideration for the victims of crime where those crimes are committed by people under the influence of drugs?
You can tell what party they're in from their questions, innit?
What about the victims of the crime? I think all parties are interested in victims of crime.
Of course we are. That's what we're saying. We're not saying that they ignore victims.
I think we're running out of time. I have a final question about...
Time is infinite.
Unfortunately,
we cannot run out of time.
It is, but for this committee...
Who's next? Theresa May? She may not show up. Check she knows what day it is. I think what there needs to be is love and compassion to everybody involved. You need to, if people are committing criminal behaviour, then it needs to be dealt with legally, but you need to offer them treatment, not simply out of some airy-fairy that's all old hands and hug liberalism, but because it deals with the problem and it prevents further crimes being committed. Addicts that get clean at one day at a time through abstinence-based recovery, generally speaking, stop committing crimes. That's better for victims, it's better for the addict, it's better for society.
Ellis?
The role that celebrities play in society is not insignificant. And I want to ask you whether...
I'd argue that it is insignificant, and that's why they play that role.
Perhaps it should be more than it is. But what I want to know from you, Mr. Brand, is whether you think that having got out of the cycle of addiction, and I congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
Whether you would like to position yourself as a role model in society for those who might look to you as an example.
As the great Tupac Shakur said, role is something people play, model is something that people make. Both of those things are fake. What I want to offer people is truth and authenticity in the treatment of this illness, in our regard to the criminal components of it, in assisting victims, and in the way we legislate and organise our society. I can't be responsible, as you know, you lot hold committees all the time about the reprehensible behaviour of our media. What the cipher of my image is used to represent in the media, I have no control over.
You do, because your behaviour is some aspect of what's portrayed about you, isn't it?
Well, yes, of course, but however, how's this going to be written up? This could be written up as Michael Ellis is sprawled on a pin there by the wit of Brand, or they could say the recalcitrant former drug addict rambled on. If you read it in the Telegraph, it's going to say one thing. If you read it in the Socialist Worker, it's going to say another thing.
Combination.
Of course, the objective behaviour has got components, but I'm saying that what I want to offer people is truth and authenticity, and I think celebrity, as we all know, is a vapid, vacuous, toxic concept used to distract people from what's actually important, and in this case that's treatment of people with a disease of addiction.
I love my girl, but she loves magic more. My baby's nothing but a dirty fucking